This presentation is on folic acid degradation, brought to you by Jamie Whittick, Kendall Wormine, Henry Touchton, and Taylor Castleberry. The pathway starts with folic acid, also called vitamin B. Folic acid is required for the diet as we are not capable of synthesizing our own. Prokaryotes, on the other hand, are able to do this on their own, but we don't have the enzyme to do this. Therefore, folic acid can be added to your diet through leafy greens, legumes, citrus fruits, eggs, or through dietary supplements. Folic acid can be used to treat anemia and even helps the body produce new cells. This is one reason that folic acid supplements are given to pregnant women. Folic acid helps prevent birth defects to a baby's brain and spinal cord. Now that you know about folic acid, we will talk about the enzymes in the pathway. Here is an overview of the pathway that we will be covering, but first, let's go through it step by step. From the dietary supplements, folic acid, also known as vitamin B, is gathered. The first enzyme in this pathway is dihydrofolic acid reductase, or DHF. It uses an NADPH from the pentose phosphate pathway and turns folic acid into dihydrofolate, or DHF. Then, using the same enzyme, dihydrofolic acid reductase, and NADPH once again from the pentose phosphate pathway, dihydrofolate is converted into tetrahydrofolate, or THF. From tetrahydrofolate, THF, serine hydroxymethyltransferase, SHMT, is used to convert THF to N5-N10 methylene THF. This enzyme takes a methyl and hydroxyl group from serine and gives it to THF to form N5-N10 methylene THF and glycine as a byproduct. For this enzyme to function, pyridoxal phosphate, which comes from vitamin B, is required. Once N5-N10 methylene THF is formed, two things can happen. The first thing that can happen is it can be converted back to DHF using thymidylate synthase. This reaction produces DTMP from DUMP, which is involved in DNA synthesis. The second thing N5-N10 methylene THF can form is 5-methyl-THF by using the enzyme methylene THF reductase, or MTHFR. This enzyme uses an NADPH and an FAD. Looking at this diagram, you can see what we've covered so far. Now, let's make it more complicated. 5-methyl-THF can be converted back to THF by the enzyme methionine synthase. This enzyme requires vitamin B12 to function, and the main purpose of this enzyme is to convert homocysteine to methionine. This then plugs in and is part of the activated methyl cycle, where S-adenosylmethionine, or SAM, is made, and through a series of steps, it's converted back to homocysteine. We also see this pathway plugging into the big picture in other places. As a reminder, NADPH used for the DHF reductase comes from the pentose phosphate pathway, and DTMP from thymidylate synthase feeds into DNA synthesis. Now you know how the pathway works and where they connect. Here is how it's inhibited. DHF and SAM both inhibit at the same enzyme on the pathway, methylene THF reductase. DHF is a feed-forward inhibition, and SAM is feed-back inhibition. In summary, folic acid degradation involves 4 different enzymes: dihydrofolic acid reductase, serine hydroxymethyltransferase, thymidylate synthase, and methylene reductase. Byproducts of this degradation pathway tie into DNA synthesis, and we also saw how this is related to the pentose phosphate pathway and activated methyl cycle. It is important for people to consume foods with folic acid or take supplements to avoid the development of future conditions or problems due to folic acid deficiencies. Deficiency of folic acid has been known to cause megaloblastic anemia, Alzheimer's, infertility in males, mood disorders, pregnancy complications, Down syndrome, and many kinds of cancer. Folic acid is essential for making red blood cells and the synthesis and repair of DNA and RNA. Many of the prior mentioned diseases are a result of improper DNA maintenance or improper red blood cell maintenance. This is why it is especially important that pregnant women have sufficient folic acid, otherwise developmental defects are likely. Because folate is so readily available through the diet, most people, with the exception of pregnant women who require more folate, do not suffer from a folate deficiency. Folate deficiency is often tied to other digestive and absorption problems or by poor dietary habits. We hope after hearing this that the next time you take a bite of some big leafy greens that you think of the pathway your body uses to make folate.